Hey everyone, it's Lulusai. I am here with a review for Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. This is a 2015 movie directed by J.J. Abrams. And fun fact, J.J. Abrams has a daughter named Gracie Abrams who makes fantastic music. Highly recommend checking her songs out. Or you've probably heard in a grocery store at this point. She's become kind of mainstream. But yeah, so The Force Awakens is like the return to Star Wars after the hiatus that it was on for a while after Revenge of the Sith. This is the first Disney Star Wars movie. So George Lucas sold Star Wars off. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The more I watch this movie, I think I've seen it probably at least, I want to say 15, 20 times. The more I watch it, the more critical I become of it. I still enjoy it every time. I don't think it's a bad movie, but yeah, I am going to be pretty harsh on it. And actually, I believe this is the first review on this channel where I'm going to be giving the movie a lower final rating than what the critic average is. I think I was either like on the dot, higher, especially with horror, because critics underrate horror. But here, I'm actually going to go against the grain a little bit. I do think the critics have overrated this one, in my opinion. So, the plot is basically the same as A New Hope, which is a part of the problem. We will talk about that more later. But we follow Rey, no last name. She is a scavenger just trying to get by. And I will give credit here, they do have an excellent opening scene with her character because they really show off the show, don't tell, technique here very, very excellently. So it is a very good opening to this movie. But so Rey is a scavenger, and she like basically sells off scrap metal for these like portions that are like these inflatable food things. I don't know exactly what they are, but the point is her parents abandoned her when she was a child, and she has kind of honestly unnecessarily stuck around longer than she needs to, and hasn't really progressed in life because of that, so she doesn't know her place in the galaxy and whatnot. I'm making her sound like a really in-depth character right now, but she's really not. I'm giving her a little too much credit. I'm sorry. I'm actually not as much of a Rey hater as the average Star Wars fan might be, but yeah, we'll discuss her more later. But at this point, things are good. Things are fine. So Rey is also Force sensitive, and meanwhile, we are following Poe Dameron, who is one of the top pilots in the Resistance, and the Resistance are basically the rebels from the original trilogy, but, newer. And there's also been a new republic has been formed after the collapse of the Death Star 2, so democracy is currently in effect. However, somehow, miraculously, even though the Empire has fallen apart and are in shambles from the Death Star 2, and the loss of the Emperor and Vader. Despite all that, somehow the First Order has amassed this huge fleet and this giant super weapon Starkiller base that literally uses the power of the sun. So somehow you just have to hand wave all that away and forget about it, because it really shouldn't be like that. But they've somehow come into fruition in existence, and they are trying to chase down Poe's droid BB-8, who has a piece of the map to Luke Skywalker within it. So that's the mirroring of A New Hope with, R2-D2 has the Death Star plans in A New Hope, and here BB-8 has the map to Luke Skywalker. So yeah, and last few plot things is that we have Finn, who is actually a great character, and I'm saying that because I am someone who is often suspicious of, I'll just say it. Sorry, I'm already losing my voice, but I'll just say it. Whenever there is hyper-diverse characters, I am naturally suspicious just because I don't trust these studios at all. I don't trust their intentions. I don't think they have good faith, etc. But this is, yeah, one of the good ones. So, I mean, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Finn is a great character. He's one of the standouts in this, and he is a deserting stormtrooper, essentially. And yeah, he's very afraid of the world, understandably. And we also have Kylo Ren, who is basically the new Darth Vader. Kylo Ren, I won't spoil him, but he is also a standout. He's excellent. Yeah, he's a little bit overly emotional and has outbursts, but he is a good villain. and he and the ultimate supreme leader Snoke, who is basically the new emperor, who is not very good. I do not care for Snoke at all. Snoke and Kylo are trying to get this droid BB-8. And yeah, I guess it's not really a spoiler because they're on the cover there. We also have Princess Leia and Han Solo and Chewbacca. They have returned and are also part of the journey here. So, Force Awakens. Let's start with the negatives, okay? And I'm probably going to forget quite a few things because I don't script these videos. I just go off my memory. So I'll try to cover as much as I remember of the big points because there's a lot. I mean, here's the thing. I think the correct way for me to review this movie is to look at it somewhat within a bottle, but not too much of it a bottle. I still want to remember the original trilogy that came before this, but I don't want to count the two mainline sequels against this one. Because The Force Awakens, the huge problem with it nowadays is that the continuity is terrible. I mean, back when this came out, it was very exciting, all these new plot lines and stuff, and they either go absolutely nowhere, they're handled poorly, or they're completely forgotten or pointless. So a lot of the stuff that this sets up just doesn't matter in the long run. So that's what kind of hurts the rewatchability. But I don't think it's fair to count that against this, so I'm not considering that against the score here. Okay, but yeah, so problems. Continuity. I mean, that's not going to count against the score, but I will say continuity, horrible. Knights of Ren do nothing. Technically, they come back one more time, but it could have been a lot better. That's the thing. Maybe, I mean, like, the two directors that come after this, so it goes to Rian Johnson, then goes back to J.J. Abrams. It's like they try to retcon each other. So they're like literally writing each other into a dead end. Because they think I don't know, their hubris thinks that they're better than each other. I think J.J. Abrams was probably J.J. Abrams should have directed The Last Jedi. That's what I'm trying to say. So The Last Jedi is really going to hurt this one a lot. Okay, so number one problem is continuity. I don't want to talk about all that because it's going to be spoilers. It's going to take a super long time. I could rant about it for hours, honestly. You'll know it when you see this movie for yourself. A lot of this stuff is just pointless and goes nowhere. Main problem number two, Rey as a character. So I don't hate Rey as much as the average Star Wars fan might. I'm sure there's some fans. I mean, there's fans of anything anywhere, right? So she's not exactly my cup of tea, though, because she is basically the most standard audience fill-in character ever. She's extremely, like, not neutral because she's technically like a good guy, although good is really a point of view, isn't it? That's what the Emperor would say. But yeah, she is so average personality-wise and everything. She is just the most mainline, typical, like, character I've ever seen. So she's just an audience stand-in. You're just supposed to relate to her. She's just like a regular person, but not in a good way, in a very boring, cliche, uninteresting way. I mean, Luke Skywalker's basically the same thing I just said, but there's a lot more respect and admiration going on with him. He goes through more of a complete journey. He goes through struggles. He has more faults than Rey does, honestly, like more downsides to him. So he's a lot more fleshed out and three-dimensional, even though he is also a standard audience fill-in character. But yeah, I mean, Rey just does not cut it, in my opinion. She just doesn't have that star power, unfortunately. I will say, in her defense, though, I don't mind that she beats Kylo Ren in the final duel, because they actually set it up pretty well. It's entirely explained. I mean, if it wasn't explained, yeah, I'd be pissed off too. But I think people are forgetting the fact that this movie makes a point that Chewie's bowcaster is seriously powerful. Like, there are almost a weird amount of scenes dedicated to just showing off Chewie's bowcaster. And the reason for that, or a reason, is, one of the reasons, is because Kylo gets hit by that bowcaster. It's honestly a miracle he survived. So, I don't know how he survived in the first place, but since he has survived, he's obviously not going to be in tip-top fighting shape. So I don't care that Rey beats him in the final duel. Do not care about that at all. But I will concede and I will admit that, yeah, Rey is a little too good at too many things for no reason. There's not a lot of background. I know I gave credit to the whole show don't tell, but they don't show off her skills they don't show off how she acquired these skills or why she has this lay of the land. I mean, I guess you could just say she's a scavenger who has to survive. But there's probably a more interesting way to do it than just, hand wave it away as, oh, she's really powerful, get over it, right? She has amazing fighting skills. She's a pilot somehow, even though she doesn't ever leave her planet. So she has no reason to pilot a ship. But somehow she's a perfect pilot. She does this ridiculous line about bypassing the compressor, whatever the hell that means. So, yes, it's that forbidden word. I know the actor herself does not like this word. Okay, I'm going to say the word. Mary Sue. I don't think Rey is as bad of a Mary Sue as a lot of other characters I've seen. I just watched Masters of the Universe, the 2026 version recently. He-Man is far more of a Mary Sue than Rey is. But, yes, I will admit, she is still kind of one. I'm sorry, Daisy Ridley. Not that you'll ever watch this, but she is kind of one. Not the worst example ever, though. I mean, basically every Marvel superhero is a Mary Sue to some degree, really. With a few exceptions, probably. Okay, moving on from Rey. So this is another big one. This is actually the biggest one for me. So this movie is too much of a rehash of A New Hope. Not just in the nostalgia and member berries way, but straight up relying on it as such a crutch. I mean, the story is so similar, the structure of everything. It opens with a sand planet where a droid gets sent to go deliver plans to the Resistance, and we have both the Vader. I guess there wasn't an Emperor at the New Hope yet, but yeah, I mean, Red is basically the new Vader, and he's stalking our heroes, following their every move. There's even a cantina scene. I mean, this movie's so unapologetic with it. There's even like a Mos Eisley cantina scene. I always was wondering, I never liked Maz Kanata. I never knew why. I just figured out why. So I've watched this movie like 15, 20 times, and I never knew why I disliked Maz. She is portrayed by an actor named Lupita. I forget the last name. But she is the one that is playing like the most beautiful woman in history in the Odyssey movie. Which is a little bit phony in my opinion. And yeah, so... yeah, I don't like Lupita as an actor, I don't think. I think I've just decided that. And I'll give her a shot in the Odyssey. I'm definitely going to be watching the Odyssey. But I would be surprised if it goes well. Anyways, back to Force Awakens. So yeah, it's way too much like A New Hope. I mean, even Return of the Jedi was already kind of like A New Hope. So it's hilarious that they're like doing it for a third time, basically. Okay, and now another big problem, I talked about this briefly already, is the premise of the movie. So conceptually, this shouldn't really be happening, in my opinion. The New Republic has been formed. It should be a strong alliance of systems. The Death Star 2 has already fallen. The war has already been won by the rebels. There's no reason why... I mean, I guess they explain it in the future, kind of, because he has returned. I'm not spoiling things yet, but we'll get there. So I guess they technically retcon that as well. This series is just full of retcons, just constantly retconning things, and it just makes less and less sense the more retcons that happen. So yeah, there really is, at this point in time, when this movie came out, there's no good reason why this entire First Order should exist. I don't know how they have the resources to build Starkiller Base, which is like, I don't even know how many times bigger than the Death Star. Fun fact, by the way, did you know Starkiller Base is actually the same planet as Ilum from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? That's a pretty cool fun fact. But I like Starkiller Base. I'm just saying it shouldn't exist. That's the funny thing. Yeah, and all of these soldiers is completely indoctrinated. Stormtroopers, I don't know how they've gotten these huge legions of armies, but then you're also going to have someone like Finn just defect anytime they want. So why wouldn't there be more defectors than just Finn? It just starts to fall apart the more you think about it. Oh yeah, and again, the continuity thing, man. This is where it gets really annoying. This doesn't count against the movie because it's a future thing, but I have to talk about it now. Why is there a map to Luke Skywalker if he doesn't want to be found? He went to that island specifically to die alone. Those are his words. When this movie came out, that was probably not the original plan, but because it's a different director for the next mainline movie, Last Jedi, he's totally 180'd Luke's character, probably, most likely, behind the scenes, and now it just makes no sense. The entire point of this movie makes no sense. Why are we looking for Luke Skywalker? Even if you find Luke Skywalker, is he really going to change that much? I don't know. It's not nearly as important as the plans to Death Star, in my opinion. Okay, I'm sure I could go on and on, but let's go to the positives now. So, really like Adam Driver. he is why Kylo Ren is such a great villain. I think Kylo Ren as a character is quite flawed, and not in a perfect way, but just in a, he can be a little bit of a temper tantrum throwing guy. But the reason Kylo Ren is one of the standout villains of the series to me is purely because of Adam Driver. Expert acting, truly. General Hux I like a lot as well. He's that perfect kind of slimy, you know, corporate trying to move up the ranks Imperial officer, who's equally incompetent though, but doesn't realize it because of his hubris. So he's great. This film has a ton of humor in it. I really like Finn. And there's a constant momentum of entertainment. There's never a down moment, really. I guess kind of, again, the Maz Kanata scene's kind of a downtime for me, but other than that, there's not really any downtime for this. It's just constant momentum forward. Amazing visuals. This is the best part of the movie by far, is the visuals. There's clearly a really good mix between special effects and practical effects. Like when those rocks break by those stormtroopers when Poe shoots the rocks. Really, really cool. I mean, you have the actual Starkiller base shooting its lasers with the whole do, you know, that shooting stars meme. But I love that scene. I love the scene where, I can't say his name probably, but a certain historical figure that we don't really like, whose name starts with A, his first name starts with A, and his last name starts with H. Hux ends up looking like this, or acting like him a bit, and that's a good scene. I mean, it shows the tyrannical empire and why they need to be stopped, right? They've completely lost it. They even do like a little bit of a salute, you know? So, yeah. But anyways, I just think the movie visually looks amazing. Also the lightsabers, by the way. So, this movie changes the lightsabers, and I don't hate it. I actually kind of appreciate it and like it more sometimes. This movie might have my favorite version of the lightsabers, depending on the day you ask me, because they're more like heavy medieval claymores. They take a lot of effort to swing, and there's a lot of impact to them. Versus like the prequels, which are basically like glow sticks or, you know, very light, fast-moving foam bats. I still like the foam bats. I like plenty of the duels in lightsaber action in the prequels, but I think I prefer this style of lightsaber. It's slower, more methodical, makes the... I mean, compare, like... I mean, this is a good lightsaber battle at the end here. Compare this lightsaber battle between Rey and Kylo to, like, Yoda versus Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones, and this lightsaber fight is way better, because it's just... I like the choreography more, I like the weight, the impact, so... There's a lot of things to like about this. There's a lot of goosebump moments as well. A lot of just funny moments, I already said that. So I don't hate The Force Awakens, I just think it's flawed. And I mean, it's even more flawed if you consider what comes after this. So I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, a harsh 7 out of 10. And yeah, the average for critics is about an 8, I believe. I think it is slightly overrated because it's relying way too much on a superior film that came before it. The continuity is hilariously bad because of the director's switch in the next movie. That did not count against the score though, but still. And yeah, it's just relying too much on something that came before it that's better. It just makes me want to watch A New Hope again, really. It's like A New Hope with way better visuals. Because A New Hope, I'm not going to pretend like the A New Hope lightsaber battle is super thrilling, right? So, but I mean, it has more story and emotional impact than this lightsaber battle, so. Yeah, it's up to you. Also, actually, one more thing before we close this review. I will mention, I don't mind the particular character death in this. There is one main character death in this. I'm okay with it. I do have a problem with the next two, though. And it's honestly really sad that they have to just pick one at a time for each of these sequel movies. But at this point in time, I don't mind this particular character death. I think it serves a purpose. I think it's fine. The actor, I know, didn't really care for the series in the first place, if we're being honest. So they were trying to exit the series anyway, so it makes sense on that regards as well. And yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about one of the other character deaths, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get there when we get there. So thank you for watching this review. 7 out of 10. It is above average. I think it's a very good above average sci-fi action adventure film in a bottle. But once you stack it up to the rest of the Star Wars series and the lore implications that it has and the illogical stuff going on, it starts to get a bit frustrating at times. Or not frustrating, that's the wrong word. Because I'm critical for the sake of these videos. When I watch stuff off camera, I'm more chill about it. So I'm not actively getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated when Rey says, I bypassed the compressor. But other than that, I mean, I'm pretty chill usually, but I hope this review is entertaining. 7 out of 10, let me know if you agree or disagree, and I'll see you next time.